Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Bill. I had to find the unmute on my computer.
Merry Christmas. Nice to see you.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Larson, I'm disappointed by your holiday garb.
Next year.
Okay.
Commissioner Christmas is taking a year off.
You mean they won't let you wear it at home? They'll let you out with it, but not at home?
Strict rules around here.
Can you all hear me? Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just making sure my audio is working.
Yeah, it was a little bit low to start, but I can hear you much better now.
Okay, thank you.
It is 3 o'clock, so if it's okay with everyone, we'll go ahead and call this December meeting of the Retirement and Pension Board to order. I will begin by going to number 2, which is determination of electronic meetings. I'm going to read this statement, and then we will go from there. A determination is needed by the board regarding electronic meetings pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order number 16, executed on March the 20th of 2020, extended by the Governor's Executive Order numbers 34, 51, 60, and 65, effective through 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on December the 27th of 2020, and pursuant to recommendations from the Tennessee Comptroller of the Treasury issued on March the 20th of 2020 and other applicable laws in effect. The Governor's orders allow the government agencies to amend or rescind portions of the Tennessee Open Meetings Act regarding electronic meetings in lieu of in-person attendance and participation. The Comptroller's Office recommends the board make a determination regarding the necessity of electronic meetings for continued function of government agencies and to protect public health, safety, and welfare during the outbreak of COVID-19. Such determination is to be placed on the record in the board's minutes. May I have a motion for this determination and to record this determination in the board's minutes?
So moved.
There's a motion.
Second.
Jennifer, will you call the roll?
Mr. Caldwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bustler,
Here.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward. I don't think he's joined us. Commissioner, Ms. Himmelgarn,
Aye.
Mr. Mullinax, Ms. Samar.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote and that motion carries.
Going on to item number 3, amendments to the agenda. Are there any?
No, I do not have any amendments to the agenda.
Moving on to item number 4, approval of the minutes of November the 16th, 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a
Move
motion.
to approve. I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, Jennifer, call the roll, please.
Mr. Caldwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bustler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Himmelgarn,
Aye.
Mr. Mullinax,
Aye.
Ms. Samar.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote and that motion carries.
Item number 5, applications for retirement defined benefit plan. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Jennifer, call the roll.
Mr. Caldwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bustler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Himmelgarn,
Aye.
Mr. Mullinax,
Aye.
Ms. Samar,
Aye.
and that's a unanimous vote, and that motion carries as well.
Item number 6, applications for retirement defined contribution plan. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Jennifer, call the roll.
Mr. Caldwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bustler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Himmelgarn,
Aye.
Mr. Mullinax.
Aye.
Ms. Samar. That motion passes. That's unanimous vote.
Moving on to item number 7, applications for retirement uniformed officers pension plan. Is there a motion?
Motion to accept. Second.
Any discussion? Jennifer, call the roll.
Mr. Caldwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bustler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Himmelgarn,
Aye.
Mr. Mullinax,
Aye.
Ms. Samar.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote, and that motion passes.
Moving on to item number 8, report of audit from Pew and Company. At this time, I'll turn it over to Ted Hotz from Pew. Ted?
Thank you, Chris. You have with you, should, I believe, sent out with the agenda package, both our, what we call our governance letter and also our audit report. I'm going to go over the governance letter first. So Jennifer, are you able to put that up on the screen?
Yep, I'm working on it.
Okay.
Got it.
Very good. All right. On this letter here, go to the first page, but it's actually PDF page 4. And on here, yes, good. Our required communications on pages 1 and 2 at the bottom are PDF pages 4 and 5 are general required communications that audit firms are required to make to a board such as yours, a governing body. The categories or areas are noted on the left. If there's something that we really needed to point out or address, it would be mentioned in this letter, like internal control issues, or representation letter, any issues with accounting policies, so forth. If there were anything, it'd either be identified right here in this document, or we would be saying you need to see the separate document, whether it's the audit report or otherwise. There were no issues that I really that need to be pointed out there. All the required communications are standard. And on page 3 or PDF page 6 are summary of significant accounting policies. And these are fair value of investments, pension liabilities and OPEB liabilities as assisted by the actuary. Those are the 2 primary estimates that are in these financial statements. And then after that is the representation letter, which management signs and returns to us. Those are the representations management makes to us. Any questions on that letter? Wasn't anything really in particular that I felt like we needed to point out as any unusual matter. Then we will switch on over to the audit report itself. And keep in mind, this audit report, I'll give Jennifer a moment to keep up. This audit report covers 8 plans that the Knox County Retirement and Pension Board and System covers. These these plans cover 3 defined benefit plans, 3 defined contribution plans, and 2 other post-employment benefit plans. And all of them are wrapped together in this report. Our opinion page is on page 1 and page 2, and I'm actually going to use the pages at the top right corner, Jennifer. Yeah, right there, page 1. This is our standard report, and on page 2 is our opinion. The only note that we make in this opinion is that we still the defined contribution balances prior to 2011 were not tested. We are going to do some special testing. We hope to do that next year. Just this past year was kind of a weird year with COVID and all. So hopefully we can get that exception out of the audit report at the very top of the page, basis for qualified opinion. All that is saying is that we have not tested balances in the defined contribution plans, the activity basically prior to 2011. So there's nothing really unusual about that. This just wasn't subject to audit prior to then. And now that we're, good ways past that, I think we can do a little less testing than we would have had to at that point in time to verify the balances. Outside of that, this is your standard clean opinion report. So it's the report that we would expect to see for the pension board. I'll move forward to page 3 starts the MD&A, management's discussion and analysis. And I'll flip to page 4 in there. That chart a little bit past halfway down the page will show the defined benefit pension and defined benefit OPEB plans funding status. And in this chart, these are calculations based off of GASB calculations, as opposed to, I know actuaries use different calculation basis than these, but the percentages in 2020 went down a little bit for the plans that are listed there. We list the 4 plans, and we also, as part of reference, note what the U.S. national average is. But the percentages are down slightly this year. The only reason being because investment performance in the fiscal year was down as everyone's trying to, dealing the impact of COVID. To move forward, the actual financial statements are really pages 8 through 11. Your balance sheets are called statement of fiduciary net position and statement of changes in fiduciary net position. I'm going to quickly say that we in these reports here, these schedules, we list all plans in columnar format, and then I have a total for total defined benefit plans and total for defined contribution plans. You'll notice the far right is the grand total of all the plans, and basically the system was in charge of or held assets or investments totaling about $648 million at the end of this year, June 30th of 2020. And on page 9, it was $658 million. So a slight drop during the year. Pages 10 and 11 are the income statement effect. And you'll note that the net investment income on page 10 was far right, 4.5 million. So very modest net increase. Interest and dividends basically greater than the net loss, net depreciation, and fair value of investments. So basically just a really flat year as kind of anticipated. 2019 on page 11 had an investment performance of nearly 27 million to the positive. The footnotes start on page 12. But I guess going back to those numbers are not surprising given the year that the economic year that we've had. Page 12 start the footnotes, and I'll point out description of benefits for the plans. Description of the plans and the benefits starts on page 16. Actuarial assumptions are on page 24. I'm really just gonna, the footnotes is a lot of detail reading, and I'm not gonna go over them. I'm just gonna point out a couple different areas that you may wanna look at later, which is description of plans on page 16, the actuarial assumptions on page 24, and investment information starts on the bottom of page 28 and continues for a few pages. I'll skip all the way forward to page 39, and this is the required supplementary information in the report. And it basically lists net pension liability and related ratios for the plans, and also has schedule of contributions. That's the next few pages. This is required information in accordance with GASB presentation as well. And it kind of summarizes some of the actuarial information, also plan assets held. On page, that goes through page 45. On 45 is a schedule of investment returns for the past 7 years. So that's interesting information to see on 45. And then on page page 48 is our compliance report. Here is where, if we had issues with internal controls or other compliance matters that we need to report, we would report that. The good news is our testing this year, we just had only a few very minor differences. So no internal control issues to report, no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. So a clean compliance report this year for the pension board. And really that goes through the report. I do want to add that, with such a strange year that we've had and a challenging year dealing with the coronavirus and scheduling our testing on-site, off-site, we could not have done it without the support and the help of Jennifer and her staff. We are on schedule, if not ahead of schedule this year. So we really appreciate the support that we got from her team this year to get us to this point to where we're presenting the report in December.
Thank you, Ted.
Do we have any questions regarding the financials or the audit letter? Be glad to answer them, or you can always get back to me at a later point in time. Gary, is anything you want to add as well? Gary Mitchell's with me as well, and he heavily involved in the audit.
No, I'll just echo what Ted said, which is we really appreciate the cooperation and support we got from Jennifer and Savannah and everybody else in their office to get this audit done basically on the same schedule we've always got it done in the past. So hats off to them, and we had a really smooth audit this year.
Ted, from a finding standpoint, there were no findings, correct?
That is correct, Chris.
Kudos to Jennifer and her staff.
Thank you.
Questions for Ted, other than that? Seeing none, Ted, you must have did a thorough job because there are no questions. So you are free to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting if you would like.
Randy has a question, I believe.
Go ahead, Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ted, I wanted to point out that your audit on the returns on the plans are basically our fiscal year and not our calendar year, correct?
Yes, very good point to note. Their fiscal year from July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. Yes. So they're a little dated from that standpoint.
Yes.
We'll add this, though, the attorney letter that the auditors receive from us regarding matters that are pending or that are even somewhere out there being talked about. Any information that we have where there would be a conflict with the Retirement and Pension Board is noted in our letter to the auditors, and that is through the current time, not just the fiscal year.
Correct. That is part of subsequent events that we would have to report, yes.
I think it's important to note too, Ted, and Bob could speak to this as well. How we calculate rate of return and funding ratios can vary from an actuarial standpoint to a reporting standpoint, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, and if I may, just to give you an update, the date of measurement really does make a big difference. If you were to do the same calculation as of Friday, the funded ratio for the DB plan would go from up to 60.53, which is higher than it was in 2018. Teachers plan is almost the same as it was in 2018, as is UOP. So the measurement date, as Ted has correctly noted, does make a big difference, and Randy as well. So yeah, the funded ratios have increased dramatically as a result of the run up. And we just all pray that it lasts for about 2 more weeks. So,
Randy, you had a question?
More of a comment. Bob, I set that question up and you stole my thunder.
I'm sorry, Randy. Merry Christmas. I'm sorry.
Anything else for Ted or Gary? Seeing none, gentlemen, thank you. We're going to item number 9, report of Executive Director, and I'll turn it over to Jennifer.
I just have a couple items I want to go through. The first is the update on the COVID-19 distributions. As you can see, for this last month, we had 72 distributions. And our year-to-date totals, if you go across the plans, is 466. The end date for these COVID distributions are the end of this month. I know Terry is thrilled to see that date that come through. I talked with Brenda and Bob and also with Ashley, and right now we don't see anything that's going to extend those COVID distributions beyond December 30th. So hopefully we won't get any extensions, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the new year. Savannah has been calculating the COLAs for the defined benefit plans. The letter from the city is in your packets, and there was a 1.4% COLA on the teacher's plan. UOP, DB, and disability pre-2014 received a 3% COLA, will receive a 3% COLA starting January the 1st. Those COLAs have been calculated. Savannah's in the midst of, and Mitzi getting that information to State Street and to USI. And so we should be all set. It's a pretty big ordeal to go through those COLAs. And I think Savannah and Mitzi have done a great job with that this year. We did have our meeting last week regarding the election. Jennifer Hemmelgarden seat is up for election with the schools, and we do have an open seat through the county when Tracy Foster resigned her position. So that election is going to be held on technically on February the 11th. Talked with IT and the committee, and we are going to have the election start on February the 10th at 4 p.m. and it will run through 4 p.m. on February the 11th to give a 24-hour span for the online election. That's to accommodate any second or third shift employee that is at work that would like to vote. The notice of the election will be sent out on a mass email through the school system and through the county on December 28th. And the last item that I have is about the valuation. Once we have all the COLAs loaded into our system into Ben Excel, I can start running the reports that we process and send to USI to start the valuation process. So I hope to have those reports sent to USI by February the 1st at the latest. And that concludes my report. If there's any questions for me.
Questions for Jennifer? Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jennifer, what was the total on distributions?
For the COVID, 466.
Is that 1,000 or is that number of distributions?
That's the number of distributions.
Any idea what the dollar amount is?
Commissioner Smith, it's also right. The total is right on page 4 of your agenda. Or is that the loan status? Oh, that's just the loan status. That's different. Sorry about that.
So we have an average, if you look at what's out of the asset plan is about 14,000. I think probably I could get a total and email it to you so you can have the total dollars across the plans. Would you like me to send that to you?
6 or 7 million. That sound about?
6.2, maybe.
Yeah.
I was just curious as an overall figure.
Other questions for Jennifer? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 10, report of investment committee. And I will turn that over to Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You can start with the spreadsheets on quarterly returns somewhere around page 26. And you can see that in the asset accumulation plan, the different funds are having quite a range of returns given. Most of that return is going to be basically how you've set your portfolio. The biggie for me is the DB plans, rate of returns. And if you go to page 35, you can see that the month of November was an exceptional month for the market. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure we were understanding in Ted's audit that percentage of fund is in June, and the gains that have been made have been, well, last month alone was pretty much incredible. If you look at the investment earnings and you go back up and you look at the beginning balance, you can do a simple math in your head and see that that's pretty amazing returns in 1 month. As Bob referenced earlier, December has also been a good month, and hopefully we can make it one more week so that we get to the point that we do our vows on for our funding. I will turn it over to Bob if he has anything on how his plan to guide us through an extended pandemic and possible Civil War investment strategy.
Oh my gosh. We're just thrilled. We made a recommendation to move a little bit more to have more of a value tilt, and then also a little bit more on an international tilt. And that rotation seems to have begun. So we're very pleased with the rate of return that has been achieved so far. And we believe that we're well positioned going forward as well. So I'm with Randy. I just, as I noted earlier, we just really want to get through 12/31 so that we can have a positive impact on the valuation reports. And again, pleased to see that those ratios have gone up. I want to make sure I add as well that Jennifer and her staff are just a fantastic group of individuals. They're very responsive, very professional, very well organized, and just great to work with. So I want to make sure that I echo everyone's comments today.
Thank you, Bob.
So Bob, you're responsible for the next 10 days in the market, correct?
Oh,
Marking that down.
Barring some weird something, we ought to be okay. We should be okay.
Thank you, Bob. Moving on to item number 11, report of legal counsel. John Owens, you're up first.
All right. Let me just go ahead and give you a brief report about our litigation. In the Edders matter, we've pretty much been on hold the last month. Everything with the court system is usually hurry up and wait. And so everything was hurry up about 45 days ago. We got motions filed, things are pending. And then the court system and other matters related there too almost came to a screeching halt. and they really haven't picked back up. I don't expect them to pick back up really over the next 30 days or so. We keep getting orders from our Supreme Court, Tennessee Supreme Court. You know, one, there's no jury trials going on right now. They admonished a judge the other day for failing to follow COVID procedures. And so all of that is going on with our court system. And if you ask me, there's not a whole lot being done, at least on a state level. On the federal level, there's a lot of online hearings. We're not in federal court. We're in state court. And so for now, our litigation is in a hold pattern, which is where I expect that it will be over the next 30 days or so. But it will pick back up, hopefully. If we all get vaccinated, or if 75% of us or so get vaccinated, maybe this will come to an end one of these days.
Anything else, John?
That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Mr. Mason,
I have nothing to report, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
appreciate it. Any questions for our attorneys? Seeing none, we'll go on to item number 12, report of actuary Bob Cross. Bob, you have anything else?
No, sir.
Appreciate it. Item number 13, approval for payment to statement of account. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion by Commissioner Jay. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Mullinax.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Jennifer, call the roll.
Mr. Caldwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Bustler,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Hummelgarn,
Aye.
Mr. Mullinax, Ms. Samar.
Aye.
That's a unanimous vote and that motion passes.
Item number 14, is there a motion to, Randy, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did have a question about the expenses going forward. I see that we are in the negative on some of our counsel. My question, I guess, is how far do we expect to go into the negative, and when do we need to take action to make that up?
So overall budget, we're in line. And I can present that in the next board meeting if you like, what our year-to-date figures look like. But until I guess we see how everything pans out, I can do an analysis to see if we need to increase the budget overall.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you all. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.